Hi, Black Recap here. Today I am going to explain a film called The Young and Prodigious Spivet. Watch out and take care. Sparrow Spivet is a 10-year-old boy who lives on a ranch in Montana. The child spends all of his time with his twin brother Leighton. A year before, Mr. Spivet visited the historical museum, where a professor spoke about the theory of a perpetual motion machine. So far, none of the scientists had been able to invent it, but the man believes that one day in America there will be a young prodigy who can create it. Approaching the professor, Mr. Spivet said that he would become this inventor, but the scientist only laughed at him. Dr. Claire is the boy's mother. She is an entomologist. After answering the phone call, the mother has told the kid that someone had called him. It turned out that the drafts of the magnetic wheel, which might become the world's first operating perpetual motion machine, became an interest of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington. Talking to Mrs. Gibson, the deputy director of the institute, the boy is embarrassed to admit that he has invented the machine. Having lied to the woman, he says that Mr. Spivet is his father, but he is mute and cannot answer the phone. The boy's invention won the prize, and he has to come to receive it. Realizing that he is still a schoolboy and the scientific community will not take him seriously, he refuses the award. After coming to his older sister, the kid lies to her, telling her that a journalist has called and wanted to get an interview. Gracie is a failed high school theater actress who dreams about winning a beauty pageant. Finding out that her brother has a chance to become famous, she gets angry at him and mocks him. The father of the family is a reticent and reasonable cowboy who likes to hunt. In his spare time the man relaxes in a living room full of stuffed animals. There is nothing in common between the boy's parents, they are like day and night. But despite this, Claire and Tecumseh Elijah sincerely love each other. Leighton is the kid's twin brother and his father's favorite son, who dreams of becoming a cowboy. The boy loves to shoot cans and hunt animals with his Winchester shotgun. Deciding to spend time with his brother, Mr. Spivet suggested that Leighton shoots, so that the little prodigy could determine the shooting power. But something went wrong and his brother got hit. It is uncommon to mention this in their family, as the parents are very upset by the loss of their son. The father has pulled away from the prodigy kid, and does not pay attention to the boy. Mother is driven into entomology, studying insects day and night in search for a non-existent specimen. During a school lesson, Mr. Stenpock tells the boy that he has got only 3 points for his work. He considered the kid's inventions and scientific research to be stupid, taking him as an ordinary child trying to stand out from the crowd. After finding out that the boy's article was published in the Discovery magazine, Stenpock gets angry and talks down to the kid. Coming back home, the young genius goes with his father to the stream. Not so long ago, he already suggested to his father to shift the course, so they would get a new inflow, but his father ignored his idea. Noticing a goat trapped in the fence, the boy wants to help the animal. Seeing the snake, he closes his eyes and thinks that he is going to meet his brother pretty soon, but his father saves him by shooting the reptile. In the evening, Claire invites her son to travel with her for a few days, but the boy deceives his mother and refuses the trip. Realizing that something has to be changed, he calls the Smithsonian University and says that he will soon arrive to receive his award. After packing everything necessary for the trip, the kid runs away. He has accurately calculated the time of the arrival of the train, so he comes to the train station in time. Painting out the lantern with a red magic marker, Mr. Spivet makes the train stop. While the brakeman is inspecting the train, the boy runs away from the station workers, climbs onto the top of a car and sets off to the east. Traveling across the country, the kid sees his dead brother Leighton and talks to him. The train stops in Casper, Wyoming. Station workers inspect the train. Taking his suitcase, the kid sneaks into the camper and locks the door. In order not to get caught, he pretends to be a figurine sitting at a dinner table in the camper. The man stares at the kid, but considers him to be a part of the art and lets the train move on. North Platte, Nebraska. Noticing a trailer with hot dogs nearby, Mr. Spivet decides to get off the train for a while. An old hobo living in cut-off car notices a kid wandering around the station. A cheerful and wise man plays with him, telling him some caution tales. After talking with a hobo named Two Clouds, the boy goes to get a hot dog. The cops tell the saleswoman about the kid who has run away from Montana, and the boy gets that they are talking about him. Pretending to be an orphan, the kid buys the food and returns to the train to continue his trip. On the way to the railroad, he notices a payphone and decides to call his family to calm them down. His relatives are ready to do anything to return him home, but the kid has to fulfill his dream. Approaching his aim, the kid begins to realize that he misses his parents. The boy is crying because he is not a daredevil, but just a schoolboy who wants to be noticed. Reading his mother's diary, he understands that his mother is missing Leighton a lot. Submerging herself into science, she tried to distract herself and forget about what has happened, although she understood that she was not paying proper attention to her son. Arriving in Chicago, the boy takes only the most necessary things with him and hides his suitcase in a fuse box. A cop mistakes the kid for a graffiti artist and runs after him. The boy manages to escape by jumping over the drawbridge. Spivet hitchhikes a truck on the highway. Rick is a good-natured trucker who loves to give people a lift and take photos with them. Next morning they arrive to the Smithsonian Institution. After saying goodbye to the trucker, the boy goes to the hall, where he asks to see Mrs. Gibson. Seeing a kid in front of her, the deputy director of the institute considers it to be a joke. Convinced that Mr. Spivet is a genius, she decides to use the guy's age to introduce him to the scientific community. Hugging the boy, Gibson hurts him, as he was injured when he was running away from the doctor. In the hospital, it turned out that the boy has several broken ribs and needs rest. Using her position, the woman inspires confidence in Mr. Spivet. She conducts a series of experiments on him to check out his intelligence. During the celebration, the genius feels awkward and tries to overcome his fear. The scientists who have come to the event are amazed at the young genius. The boy is too smart and understands that they are all lying, only imitating sincere smiles. Getting an opportunity to speak publicly, he thanks everyone for the award and talks about what has happened to his brother. It turns out that at some point Layton's shotgun got jammed shut. Spivet wanted to help him and took his gun, but at that moment a shot was fired. He did not want to hurt his brother and dreamed about spending more time with him, but it all ended up in a tragedy. Imbued with the story, the audience gives him a standing ovation. Money-minded Gibson decides to use the boy's story and make some cash out of his fame. During the long interviews, photo shoots and conversations with scientists, the boy begins to understand that no one is interested in a magnetic wheel that can work for 400 years. He realizes that all they need is his tragic story. Being desperate, he calls his parents, but no one picks up the phone. Arriving at a TV show, Mr. Spivet meets the host. The mean and cunning Roy constantly interrupts the boy, trying to draw him into a sincere conversation. Mr. Spivet, who calls himself an orphan, does not want to talk about his brother, who is dead. Gracie watches the TV show and is glad that her brother has become a celebrity. At some point, Roy invites Spivet's mother to the studio, and it is revealed that the kid has lied that he is an orphan. He did it not for compassion, but in order not to let anyone take him home. Having opened up to her son, the mother begs for his forgiveness and does not blame him for what has happened to Layton. Feeling his mother's love, he hugs her tightly and they leave the studio. When meeting the materialistic Gibson, the woman slaps her. The boy's father, who also has come to the studio, forgives his son and says that he loves him. When he was driving by, he did not stop only because he was distracted and did not see the kid standing on the side of the road. Noticing the annoying Roy, the cowboy knocks the TV host down, and the family leaves the building. The Spivets come back home. Gracie is training and gets ready for the beauty pageant. The father had a fight with the mother and is not going to return home soon. Claire is pregnant and expects a baby. The boy continues his scientific works, which might help him to change the world and the future of the mankind. Finding out that he was named Sparrow only because his sister found a bird in the kitchen, the boy sincerely hopes that his younger brother won't be named Toaster due to the fact that their household appliances get burned constantly. Soon, the Perpetual motion machine comes in handy, but only to rock the cradle of a newborn child. So, that's it. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, so you won't miss the new videos. See you soon.